Morning, everybody. I had a different show planned for today, but I felt as though this one was much more important. So I moved today's show to tomorrow. And today we're going to cover something that I just found this morning. So when I first heard this theory on face masks and why they're being required and why we have to stand 6 feet apart, I have to admit I was a bit skeptical. And the theory that I'm talking about goes like this. In the years leading up to the Kuru Rona, China was working on facial recognition artificial intelligence so that they could identify people just using the portion of their face above their nose and mouth. So they were looking at the eyes, they were looking at the bridge of the nose, and their forehead. So the theory is that they launched the Kuru Rona here in the United States to test the software on American faces. Now, American faces are much different than Asian faces in the world of facial recognition. If you don't believe me, look at Ben Swan's channel, and he talks all about how even with African American faces, they're read differently by facial recognition, and therefore the system has to make adjustments for African American people, and that was seen as some type of discriminatory algorithms. So they would need to test something like that pretty much across all different races, right? So I decided to look into this. Now, some channels are talking about this, and there's actually something to it. So I started to dig, and I found these articles that seem to confirm at least the first part of the theory, that China was indeed working on software to identify just the top portion of your face underneath a mask. So let's take a look at this. Here's an article here. Let this load up. China's facial recognition giant says it can crack masked faces during the CV. This was February 18, 2020. This was before any cases in the U.S. In unwelcome news for protesters everywhere, some Chinese artificial intelligence companies are announcing their technology can now identify people even when they're wearing face masks as part of their efforts to adapt to the continuing outbreak. China's SenseTime, the world's most valuable AI startup, said earlier this month that it was rolling out a facial recognition product that incorporates thermal imaging cameras to help spot people with elevated temperatures and send pop-up alerts to users of the software. With the addition of the mask algorithm, it can also detect those who are not wearing masks in public places. So, there's confirmation. Here's another study, or another article. Even a mask won't hide you from the latest face recognition tech. This is from the New Scientist. This is all the way back in 2017. Ditch the hat and scarf. It's not fooling anyone. Face recognition software can now see through your cunning disguise, even if you're wearing a mask. Amarjoro Singh at the University of Cambridge. His colleagues trained a machine learning algorithm to locate 14 key facial points. These are the points the human brain pays most attention to when we look at someone's face. The researchers then hand-labeled 2,000 photos of people wearing hats, glasses, scarves, and fake beards to indicate the location of these same key points, even if they couldn't be seen. The algorithm looked at a subset of these images to learn how the disguised faces corresponded with the undisguised faces. So, long story short, again, more facial recognition under a mask. Now, it's starting to make sense why people would have to stand 6 feet apart, because this could increase the effectiveness of the software's ability to focus on the face. Then I came across this 2017 article, and this is what opened the floodgates of what I'm going to show you next. Look at how creepy this is. So this article talks about researchers have identified and developed an AI that can identify masked individuals. Okay, so again, this is the theme. And I'm reading down through this article. It talks about technologies that can denude us in our offline and online privacy, facial recognition technologies, okay, artificial intelligence algorithms used to do so. And I'm cruising down this article, and I'm just about to stop reading, and I come across this portion. Elsewhere, another system for identifying masked individuals, which was developed at the University of Basel in Switzerland, creates a 3D model. University of Basel, or I don't know how it's pronounced, in Switzerland. So, after this, all I did was search Bill Gates, facial recognition, and Basel, Switzerland, and lo and behold, this comes up. Gates Foundation names Trevor Mundell to head up Bill Gates' global health program. Now, what's the big deal about Trevor Mundell? Well, this guy worked on elements of facial recognition. What does that have to do with the global health program? Well, we're going to get into that. Before we do, we're going to look at what University of Basel was up to. And Mundell is from Basel, University of Basel in Switzerland. This is where he hails from. Now, here's the study. This is what they were working on. Now, Mundell was not involved, just for fair disclosure, in this particular study about masked faces. But look at this study. They basically conceal the face with glasses or a mask. Here you can see the masks here. Again, this is University of Basel in Switzerland, which, by the way, aren't they one of the leaders in 5G whiz technology? Or is that another country? And so they talk about their algorithm's effectiveness at still identifying the face. Here's the abstract. We propose a probabilistic, occlusion-aware 3D morphable face model adaptation framework for face image analysis based on the analysis by synthesis setup. In natural images, parts of the face are often occluded by a variety of objects, or they're often hidden by a variety of objects, like sunglasses and masks, like we showed you. Such occlusions are a challenge for face model adaptation. We propose to segment the face into face and non-face regions and model them separately. The segmentation and the face model parameters are not known in advance and have to be adapted to the target image. A good segmentation is necessary to obtain a good face model fit and vice versa. Therefore, face model adaptation and segmentation are solved together using an EM-like procedure. We use a stochastic sampling strategy based on the Metropolis-Hastings algorithm for face model parameter adaptation and modified Chan-V's segmentation for face region segmentation. Previous robust methods are limited to homogeneous controlled illumination settings and tend to fail for important regions such as the eyes or mouth. We propose a ransack-based robust illumination estimation technique to handle complex illumination conditions. We do not use any manual annotation, and the algorithm is not optimized to any specific kind of occlusion. So they're talking about illuminating the face, okay? All of this verbiage dovetails right in to these biometric cameras that will be taking pictures of all of your faces when you go in to get your driver's license for the national ID, the real ID. Those are biometric cameras. They illuminate your face and take a picture of you at a very high definition so that can be loaded in the database and matched up with your face when you're out and about. That's what's coming. And you're going to see how all this dovetails into what we're going to talk about next. So this is the study that they were working on. This is the guy, Trevor Mundell, who is from that university. And that was the announcement that he would be named the Global Health Program frontman. Okay. Here's another announcement. And look at what he was working on at that university. Now here's his little contribution tab here, Trevor Mendel, and it even says Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And they were working on a study back in 2003, the transient, which is temporary, inability to distinguish between faces. Electrophysiologic studies. In these studies, they're shooting electric waves into monkey brains and people and trying to find out if they can recognize faces. And when they shot these electric signals into certain parts of a person's brain, the person then lacked the ability to differentiate between different faces. This is creepy because if they're doing brain studies to see how our brain can recognize faces, that's one step away from looking at artificial intelligence and how it can recognize faces. Are you starting to see what's going on here? This was 2003, before he came on board with the Bill Gates Foundation. Here's Mundell. I've got his name highlighted in here. Let's read about what he was working on. These are the citations from the article. All right. Let's go down in here. Now, there's several citations about what he was working on here. Let's read this one. Let's blow this up a little bit so you guys can see this. See what I'm reading here. Recent studies have made use of this technique combined with evoked potential recordings to study several aspects of sensory cortical function in humans. I think we're down here. Face detection, but not face identification, is unaffected by the orientation of the face, and likewise, the FFA response is minimally affected by face inversion. However, such a minimal detection role for the FFA is inconsistent with the fact that individuals with acquired prosopagnosia, an impairment in face processing following a lesion to the occipitotemporal cortex, perform well in face detection tasks and rather are impaired at discriminating between and or identifying faces. And there's his citation, Mundell, the front man for Bill Gates' global health program, which should have absolutely nothing to do with this. But there he is, right? Moreover, electrical stimulation of face-specific ERP sites located at the fusiform gyrus most commonly results in transient failure to identify rather than detect faces. Let's keep reading. I just don't want to miss any part of this because this is very important that we do a thorough search of what this guy was working on, okay? I don't want to just do this halfway. Okay, so the coordinates of the stimulated region, so we're taking electrodes, right? We're stimulating parts of the brain. And most importantly, the fMRI and electrophysiological mapping provide decisive evidence that the disrupted functional area is the right OFA. I don't know what that means. Second, in contrast to subdural grids as used in previous stimulation studies, there's Mundell again, relies on intracerebral electrodes, which allow us to use low voltage electrical currents, resulting in varifocal effect. Okay, so they're talking about the method by which they shock these brains. And then this observation goes beyond our previous report of impairment in recognizing famous faces during a previous implantation in the same region, and other electrical stimulation studies reporting impairment in face versus no face categorization. This is all about facial recognition, you guys. Brain studies. This had to be done first in order to teach the artificial intelligence how to do it. They put these implants in people's brains and shocked their brains to disrupt their ability to recognize faces so they could study that and reverse engineer it to see how they do recognize faces. See also Afraz et al. 2006 for modulation of face categorization by electrical stimulation of the monkey. So they were shocking monkey brains. I mean, who does this? Impairment in face naming or distortions of the physician's face following electrical stimulation of other face selective regions, more related to our observations. Again, there's Mundell. Mundell reported an epileptic patient who stated that all faces look the same following the electrical brain stimulation of the right fusiform gyrus, suggesting impairment in individual face discrimination. However, the patient reported the same feeling during epileptic seizures, and individual face discrimination was not tested experimentally during electrical stimulation. So that's pretty much the gist of his involvement in these studies. Facial recognition. And now you're starting to see how Trump's part in this is very specific, with forcing these biometric face scans of every single American adult's face through the Real ID Act. He's implementing that. It's coming in October. When you go in to get your picture taken, it doesn't matter if you accept the Real ID or not. The camera that's being used will illuminate your face. You're going to see a bright light. They're going to take a very detailed image of your face that will be entered into the federal database. And this will be part of this facial recognition system. Make no mistake. Oh, but it gets worse. Mundell attended this World Health Summit. This was in 2017, in which they talked about the emerging concept of digital health. Now, listen to what they say about digital health. And think about it in the context of being able to track your face and your temperature. Let's take a look here. That looks like an eye, doesn't it? Get down to the bottom of this. Make this a little bit smaller. See, these people are out in the open with it. They just think that no one's going to put it all together. Well, we're here to put it together. So this portion of the symposium, I guess you can call it, summit, it says, as the digital and genetics revolutions converge. Digital and genetics, right? With healthcare into the exciting new field of digital health, we are increasingly able to track, manage, and improve both our own health and that of our loved ones. Tracking, right? Listen to this. Digital health is also helping to reduce inefficiencies in healthcare delivery, while at the same time streamlining access, improving quality, and making medicine more personalized and precise. The essential elements that are making the digital health revolution a reality include wireless devices, hardware and software sensing technologies. We're going to talk a little bit about those technologies later in the show. The internet, social networking, mobile and body area networks. So 5G Wiz is very important to this. Health information systems and genomic medicine. So they're using technology to create this new world. Like any tool, digital health is by itself neutral. It can either bring us closer to universal health care or deepen the divide between the rich and the destitute, the developed and the underdeveloped. We need to understand how to steer digital health to ensure healthy lives and promote well-being at all ages and all regions of the world. So this is the carrot, right? They're professing that this is going to help equalize the world, but in fact, it will become they will become the slave masters. Now, Mundell has a portion at this summit in which he and his little group talk about global trade. Let's find him. There he is. And let's look at his portion of the summit. Now, it says the number and type of infectious disease outbreaks have increased significantly over the past 30 years. You guys, this is 2017. This came out. As global trade and travel enable humans and goods to be more and more mobile, the risk of disease spreading beyond national borders increases. Infectious diseases are often mistakenly viewed as mere health issues. However, they are potentially grave threats to countries' security, as well as economic and human development. They're calling this a national security threat, not just a mere health issue. This is crazy. Given that pandemics can devastate economies and threaten both development and major investment by multinationals and small businesses alike, the public and the private sector share interest in ensuring that global epidemics such as that word are quickly recognized and contained, and that global epidemics such as this and this are sustainably addressed through health systems. In this session, we will discuss interventions and health systems improvements to better prepare countries and global community. This is exactly what we're going through right now for the epidemics and endemics of the future. Now, I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall during his presentation. They don't say exactly what happened. That was just the synopsis. There he is right there, Trevor Mandel, Bill Gates frontman for the global group or whatever. Now, when we look at the sum total of everything I just showed you, we see that there's something more to this. This company called Kinza is developing this thermometer, a smart thermometer. They've sold millions of them already. They hook into your cell phone. Remember, mobile apps. All this is going to be part of what they are calling illness surveillance. This is the surveillance state. Illness surveillance. They got what they wanted. The future of illness surveillance, a future where diseases aren't only tracked, they're managed and stopped in real time. This is what Kinza has been working towards for the past 15 years. Now remember, this is the company that we found in the Wiggler leaks. And they approached John Podesta for venture capital to fund these smart thermometers that you're looking at on the left of your screen. This was back in 2012. In the Wiggler leaks. And here we are 8 years later, and they've magically sold millions of these smart thermometers to schools and companies during the Corona epidemic. They want every man, woman, and child on earth to plug this thermometer into their smartphones to report whether or not they have a fever. They then map the data to determine if they need to quarantine your city, county, or state. Joy to the world, right? Unbelievable. Now, this was an article. This is actually featured on Kinza's. Is this their website? Yeah, it is. It's a blog. It's their blog. They've got Bill Gates and epidemiologists agree infectious disease needs our captive attention. And in this article, they're mentioning their smart thermometer. They've been preparing for this for a very long time. Illness surveillance. Looks like they'll get their surveillance state after all, under the guise of disease surveillance. And if you don't think so, look what they got away with under the Corona. We're not far off from mandatory smart thermometers. Probing all of our orifices just before we get disappeared into some FEMA quarantine. What disease surveillance does is it trades fear for rights. Disease outperforms every other boogeyman they've come up with to date. I'm seeing hardened truthers buying into this stuff. It's actually the perfect scenario if you think about it. This is the only way they could have actually pulled this off. A hidden enemy on every surface. And it could take your life. And the only way to stop it is to give up all your rights and let the professionals and experts protect you. Here we are, you guys. The illness surveillance state. So, share this video. This is big news. Already I can see YouTube's trying to hide this video. They will not be able to hide it if you guys do your job and share it. The front man for Bill Gates Health Foundation was looking into brain studies of how to turn on and off people's ability to recognize faces. So there you go. Now, of course, the guy has a lot of other body of work, but we also know that that particular university that he was at, they were doing studies on actual facial recognition and masks. So it's not like we're just pulling this out of thin air. There's something going on at that university, Basel in Switzerland. I'm going to take a deeper look, and I need your help with all of your eyes on Basel University in Switzerland. We can find out if they are in fact a world leader in facial recognition, and then we'll blow this thing wide open. All right, I'm going to let the chat catch up. We will be back on tomorrow, because tomorrow we're going to be talking about the states that did not abide by the recommendations to shut down businesses. And it's weird because those states seem to form a cross. Isn't that interesting? So, we're going to talk about that. We're actually going to talk about their actual rates of infection. We'll let the statistics speak for themselves. Let me give you a little teaser on tomorrow's show. Because we were told that these guidelines and recommendations were the reason why this thing didn't jump out of control, were we not? But lo and behold, when you look at the maps of confirmed cases and deaths, lo and behold, those very same states who did not adopt the closing down the businesses and all that have the lowest confirmed cases and deaths. Here it is right here. This is the number of deaths. Let's look at confirmed cases. Basically, it's about the same. The states that did the quarantines and all that, they have the highest amount. It's backwards from what they're telling us. This is the number of people that got sick. Now they're trying to couch it in some kind of thing where they're trying to say, oh, well, it's a second wave. They're getting the second wave now. Well, I'll believe it when I see it. But right now, this little cross right here that forms North Dakota, South Dakota, what is this, Nebraska? I don't know what that state is, and that's no, that's not Utah. Did it? Here's Utah. None of these states adopted some of the more extreme measures. There's Arkansas. This is where I got my property at. And look, they have the lowest confirmed cases in pink. So, the professionals and experts don't know everything that they think they know. Okay? And who made Bill Gates a professional and expert? Where's his degree in all this? But yet they let him run his mouth on YouTube all day long. Susan, why are you letting a man who has no professional ability to give any kind of medical advice, why are you allowing him to give medical advice? Oh, I forgot, because he's a billionaire. That's why. But you and I, we start talking about anything like this and we get shut down and threatened by YouTube. So there you go. If this doesn't wake people up, I don't know what will. Now this is all starting to kind of wind down. They're going to try to whitewash all this. I guess Fauci got fired. You're fired because everybody loves it when Trump fires people, right? Get the right fired back up. Trump fired him. See? It's all BS, you guys. It's all just a show. And then you got all these counties and states all over the place. We still have a curfew here in Connecticut. Got to be indoors by 8 p.m. And they're not letting up. It's like they're locked in the mind frame of when this thing started. They're not letting up, even though the mainstream news is saying that this is a big fat possible nothing sandwich. And so now, welcome to our world. Welcome to the world. Thanks, James. Thanks for becoming a member of the channel. Again, that's not necessary, but those of you that are able, it's great. It helps me out, so I don't have to worry about you watching ads and stuff to support this channel. But you're going to get the exact same content whether you're a member or not. So don't feel like you have to become a member to get a better experience here. The truth is free. It's just for people that want to help out a little bit more. Now, a better way many of you can help is by checking out the Brave browser. And there's a link in the description of every one of my videos. It provides immediate competition to Google's services, Google Chrome. It's much faster than Google Chrome. And you don't feed the cookie monster, which is the cookies that basically take away all your privacy by tracking all of your little information so they could feed you back ads. You don't want those. And all those cookies slow down your browser. So with Brave, all that's gone. It's much more private. And it's providing a counterbalance to Google's monopoly on the internet, which is why nobody can make it off of YouTube, and nobody can make it off of Google search engine, and nobody can make it off of Chrome because they've monopolized it. So if you want to do something like right now, you can get the Brave browser. It works on phones and laptops, and stop feeding the cookie monster. Don't worry, it will take care of all your passwords. You can migrate all that over, so you don't have to worry about that. That's different from cookies, okay? All right, what else we have going on here? Let's go in the chat. It finally slowed down to where I could read it. What? Google? No, it does not. You can use Google. And that's what I use to search, because I search using Google so I can be with everyone else and understand what they're trying to brainwash you with. You don't have to use Google. You can actually use DuckDuckGo. In fact, that's the default search engine on the Brave browser is DuckDuckGo. Many of you have already downloaded it. Please let everyone else know how great it is in the chat here, so they know I'm not just making this up. It's lightning fast. It actually tracks how much time it saved you versus the normal browser. Here's the default screen. You can get it with background screens too, but this is really adaptable, so you can actually change this. So I've saved 1.8 hours since I downloaded this. That's a lot of time of your life that it's saved. They also have where they actually pay you to watch ads. So, or you can turn this off and have no ads at all. But basically, it's putting things back in the power where it should be, without Google, ravaging all of the profits and everything on the internet. Your time on the internet is worth something, and Brave rewards you for that. So I have these little pop-ups that I allow. I get, I think, 5 per hour that I allow. I can turn that off if I want. And look, they paid me $1.28. So there you go. I mean, I don't know how much better you can get than this. Now, when you use the link in the description, that helps this channel. But this is actually free. It's free to you. Okay? But by you using it, that helps this channel. It puts things back where they're supposed to be, instead of Google with their hands in the cookie jar. Because all these channels on YouTube that have been doing this forever, they've seen the fluctuations in our ability to support ourselves. And more, Google's got their hand more and more into the ad revenue for any channel. They've actually got it cranked up to like 30, 40, 50% in some instances of the ad revenue. Google puts it right in their pocket. So they're basically using your time and your subscribers to get themselves rich. Okay, so that's the information. I see some of you chiming in saying how great it is. So hopefully other people will, follow suit. And maybe Brave will be the new browser and give Google a run for their money, and then Google will stop pushing us around and bullying us around all the time. They won't even give us clear parameters as to what we can and can't say. Why would you not give us clear parameters as to what we can and can't say? Why wouldn't you give us a full list of how your algorithm works so we could try to comply with your little system here? They won't do it because they want to play gotcha. They want to have the discretion to be able to pull the plug on anyone they want, even if they abide by the algorithms. And that's why. So, what do? We basically do what we do. We do what the capitalist system hailed for decades of how you influence the marketplace. You pull your money out of something and you put it somewhere else. You pull your time and attention out of one thing and you put it into something else. So, all right, I'm back in the chat. Wow, a coworker wanted us to have our temps taken already after we're masks and gloves. Yeah, they want this smart thermometer in every single American's hand. They want to be able to map out the entire United States where these fever pockets are, right? I don't see them putting an app in our hands and a device in our hands to map out cancer clusters. That'd be nice. Firefox still collects your cookies, LG. So you could use Firefox, but Brave's actually faster than Firefox. Brave is actually a Firefox product, I believe. I think the guy that started Firefox broke off from there and started Brave. Is I think the way it worked. But so that's the story on that. But yeah, they want us to they want to have all our temperatures taken. This might even be mandatory. What they'll do is they'll make it really inefficient for you in life. Before you go to the grocery store, there'll be 2 lines. Here's the line if you have the smart thermometer on your phone. You go right through because you've already been tested. Here's the line for the people that don't. You're going to get wanded at the grocery store. I don't know if this is going to happen, but this is the scenario that I envision. You're going to get wanded and you got to stand in line to get wanded. And the wand isn't going to work very well for temperature. And it's going to give false positives and false negatives. And you won't be allowed in the store. You see how all this can very quickly devolve into chaos and inefficiency. And then what's going to happen is you're going to be like, in your mind, you're going to be like, oh, screw it. I'll just get the smart thermometer. It's free anyway for me. It's all going to be paid for through insurance, right? So these people that make the smart thermometer are going to become billionaires. And every single person is going to have one. Why? Because it's going to make life easier. Oh, it's just your temperature. But then what they do is they can just go, oh, we got a pocket of resistance here in Idaho. So all the people that have smart thermometers will crank those up a couple degrees. And now we can go in and quarantine that area and put all those people in the quarantine, FEMA quarantine. You see how that works? And nobody would ever know the difference because it's a simple tweaking of an algorithm. And this is why technology isn't always the best thing. It's not always good. Because undoubtedly someone is in control of that technology and they can tweak that technology to say whatever they want. The most important thing you can do right now is protest this Real ID Act that's rolling out in October. We cannot let this happen. We cannot let biometric cameras take pictures of your face. Now, I've already given up my right to that because I got a passport. And your passport also uses one of these biometric cameras. When you get your passport photo, there are minimum requirements for the resolution and lighting. And some people specialize in passport photos, like Costco. You can go to Costco and say, I need a passport photo. It's a specific kind of photo. It's a biometrically enabled so that your face has a detailed and well lit version of your face that can now be, it's much better than the decentralized cameras who might not have had that high level of detail and lighting across different states for the way they take your driver's license picture. But these biometrically enabled cameras and passport photo cameras do have this ability. So I gave up my right years ago, actually, before I was even awake. The first time I went to France back in 2002, I think, I had a passport photo taken. So they already had my face. Then I renewed that passport. But many of you don't travel outside of the United States and therefore have never gotten a passport. And you still have a level of anonymity. But as soon as you go in to get your driver's license picture taken, that level of anonymity goes out the window because these new biometric enabled cameras will have a very detailed image of your face that is passport quality that can be then used to cross-reference your face, identify your face wherever you go. So, are we going to let Trump do this? Well, the Q team will. The Trump supporters will, because Trump could do no wrong. We got to trust the plan, right? This is why I keep telling you guys, you got to step outside of this and think critically. This isn't a Trump hate channel. We're looking at things that are being done, not Trump himself. Let's detach the two. Let's look at actions, okay? If that makes people feel any better. And we need to oppose this. I'm opposing it. There's nothing in the law that says that any of this is constitutional. It's a national ID. We needed to go into any federal building. A lot of post offices are federal buildings. Can't go into federal libraries. Can't go into... Forget about taking a trip to Washington, D.C. Just forget it. Because those are all federal buildings, right? You can't fly from state to state unless you have this national ID. You cannot fly unless you have a passport or national ID. Nothing that I'm saying is incorrect or inaccurate. This is truthful information. So, do we want that? Many people will be deceived into accepting it because Trump is touting this as the way to get rid of illegal immigration. But that's just a smokescreen. Because make no mistake, they'll dovetail this national ID into probably corrective measures and disease surveillance, illness surveillance state. They will at some point probably dovetail the two together because it's national now, right? They'd never be able to get away with something like this on a local or state level. You guys starting to see the plan from the beginning to the end now? These people don't have our best interests at heart. They just don't. So, what's going on in the chat here? Yeah, my body, my choice. Let's just that's all we have to say. My body, my choice. And when they ask you, well, that doesn't make any sense. Well, hey, you guys used that slogan for decades. We're going to use it now. My body, my choice. Do what I want with my body. Now, if you want to do something with your body and you feel like you need to cover up and wear gloves, you can do that. Great. But my body, my choice. All right. What else do we have here? Showball says Facebook wouldn't let me post empty hospitals. Yeah, they're not letting you do that. Empty hospitals, they're also taking down the hot mic video because it has a word in that video. They're allowed to say it, but we're not. Think of the irony of that. The press is allowed to say that word under a hot mic, but you and I can't. Take the videos down. That's what YouTube's doing. If the censorship doesn't wake people up, I don't know what will. Everybody thumbs up this video and share it. Get it out there as many people as you can so people can understand what's going on here. And we'll continue to dig into this. Leave comments in the comment section and I'll read them. If you find anything else on this Basel University in Switzerland, because I'd like to know. I'm just reading in the chat here. I got a bad feeling we were sold out to China. Yes, John. We've been saying that from the beginning. And they play the right-left, even with countries. The countries are doing the same thing. Playing the right-left paradigm. See, Russia has control of their citizens. China has control of their citizens. You think they're not working with the U.S. to get control of our citizens? Of course they are. They have a common interest. That is wealth and power. Why wouldn't they be working together? We're all just nothing. They want us to believe that they care about us, but do they really? History has shown that they don't. If we weren't sold out to China, we wouldn't be trading with them. Why would you trade? It's like, okay, you might as well trade with Iran up the hill. Right? I mean, if you talk about human rights and everything, it make no difference. But see, now you put your money where your mouth is. You don't trade with a country who you claim is your enemy. That right there, hands down, should wake everybody up. Snowball tried calling. Yeah, I've been super busy, man. I'm sorry I haven't gotten back to you. We were supposed to get together, but been super busy. I hope you're not mad at me. But it's just all this stuff hit, and I got to be on it. All right, back in the chat. All right. Well, looking forward to your guys' feedback. Again, you always help me get to the bottom of things with all of your suggestions and recommendations. It's very rare that I find things like on my own. Usually it comes from a recommendation from one of you guys. So, why is Artisan Lisa's comments getting rejected? View, delete a message. Yeah, Jeff, we don't want to we don't want to hide her. No, she's awesome. I don't know why he did that. Let's fix that. Unfix it. Come on, man. Unhide user. Come on, Jeff. Be cool, brother. I'm gonna have to take the wrench back. Jeez. Make wait, let's go here. Mr. Jeff, don't hide all of my subscribers. See, Jeff's been a great subscriber, but this is why I don't give out wrenches. People beg me for wrenches. Well, because everyone has a different personality, okay? And this could have been a mistake. I'm not jumping on Jeff either, but I don't know why he's hiding her. Never had her give me any trouble. Where are you, Jeff? I don't even see you in the chat. Oh, there you are. Okay, I wouldn't really hide anyone unless they're doing ad hom attacks toward another subscriber or me, okay? Otherwise, people actually can say what they want, okay? So, we'll give Jeff another chance with the wrench. Might have been a mistake. Happens sometimes. All right. She has lied. She lied. Trump will not pay back his debt. Trump will not pay. I don't even know what that means. What does that mean? I throw the wrench back. Jeff does not want the wrench. Ah, jeez. All right. Pull your wrench away. I don't even know he will not pay his rent. Maybe you misunderstood that, Jeff. Okay, so I don't give out a lot of wrenches, okay? Got a couple people on here that have wrenches, and they've been around for years. So, but thanks, Jeff, for your contribution, and everything will be great. Okay, back to this. Oh, jeez. I got some upset people. I think this is a good time to end the stream. You guys have a great day, and we'll be back on there tomorrow. Talk about the states that I consider heroes. Now, this isn't a blanket endorsement of all these states that stood up and did not close everything down. I know Utah's in there, and a lot of people have a problem with the religious majority there. Look, I'm not trying to read anything else into this other than that these people, these states, these governors did not take the carrot. Okay? So there you go. We'll talk about all that tomorrow. I love each and every one of you. Let's all bury hatchets, let bygones be bygones, come back together, and we'll see you tomorrow. Take care and be safe, everybody.